who here currently uses Python? Raise your hands, raise your hands. Python, awesome. There's a lot of Python developers in here. We've put together a very unique product offering with our AI agent. We've got something that's unique to the market. I don't see anything like it. If you haven't had a chance to look at our developer documentation, go to developer.signalwire.com, and you will see under API and SDK, the new Agents SDK. Now, who here is currently using things like Claude Code, Gemini, Cursor? All of you? Oh, y'all are going to have fun today then. Our AI Agent SDK is very AI friendly. One thing I could recommend you do is go git clone the repository, which is on GitHub. Put it in a directory, launch Claude Code, and do an init. So who has an idea of what they would want an AI agent to do? What is a use case anybody in the audience would like to see? Let's not all talk at once. Let me get this large font where it's readable. Oh crap, let's get that right. There we go. There's my Claude Code. I've been working on some this morning. I'm going to do that smaller too. Shell settings. We don't need 26-point font. I'm not that blind. That'll work. Maybe a little smaller. So anybody thought of something they want to see, or do you just want me to whip something up real quick here and kind of show you how I do this? So I guess I'll just... so let's do something simple right off the bat. So, yes?
So how about if you could have it do IT support? So basically, if someone calls in, if it's a simple question, it could answer the question. If it can't answer the question, then it could not support ticket, so a person could.
Okay, what kind of support ticket system? Do you just want to like mock that, or do you want to actually like do something?
Yeah. I mean, I personally use ConnectWise Manage, so that's not something that you guys will be able to do, I don't think.
Oh, okay. Well, we could probably mock something up,
Yeah.
and then possibly transfer to a human if it can't answer questions. So let's come up with something, okay? Hey, Shane, what was the voice name you used? I want to use that one. You use 4? Okay, that's the one I'm already using. Okay, so we're going to draft us a little plan here. Who here, how long has people here been using AI? More than a month, more than 6 months? A year? I've been doing it for 18 plus months now at this point. It's evolved very rapidly. You'd wake up every morning and the whole landscape could change on you overnight, and you'd have to step back and possibly relearn some things. That's also the path we went through as we were developing our AI agent originally. Anthony and I would wake up every morning after working 12, 16, 20 hours the previous day, just trying to keep up with the ever-changing landscape of what was happening 18 months ago. It was fun. There were frustrating times where they changed behaviors. You would wake up and something that worked this way changed and works a completely different way. And that was the side effect of growth. And it really was one of those things that taught us as we progressed through this. I remember when I first started, the first 3 months were a disaster because I would spend time trying to have this mindset that I'm going to program this AI to do what I want. And that's not a successful path. I still see that happening daily. Interacting with new users of AI, they have this idea that they're going to tell it what to do, and it's kind of not right to think of it that way. You are providing some instruction and an objective, and it will usually get to that point on its own. Sometimes over-prompting. Who here has experienced the side effects of over-prompting? I think a lot of us have. That's when you try to change a behavior by adding more prompt. And sometimes changing that behavior is removing prompt. You have to also step back and think about how a language model interprets what you're doing and what you're asking it to perform. And sometimes that's not easy, because you do have to sometimes put yourself in other people's shoes, and that's not a task that's easy for many. As the head of developer experience at SignalWire, August and Devin and Shane and Lynn, we all Shane and Lynn are my tier 3 on FreeSwitch and SignalWire. August and Devin are dedicated to DevX, but we all feed into DevX various vantage points. For example, Lynn and Shane will feed in highly technical vantage points. August over here is great at translating those into normal human speak. Devin is good at breaking pretty much everything he touches, just like me. And then I do things where when we have new customers come on board, I kind of ask them, hey, what was the friction point? What could I have done better? And so we work together with not only our customers, but other teams within the organization, engineering even, marketing, product. All of us work together and feed into DevX, because if we can lower the friction on onboarding, getting started with our products and services becomes simpler and simpler. So part of what we're starting to embrace is, if you go to developer.signalwire.com/llms.txt, you can feed that right into your AI editor, and it will index the entire developer documentation site and help you develop faster with the SignalWire products and services, because you can literally ask it to do things, build things, tell you how to do it, and it will just whip you up examples and get you from point A to point B with absolutely no delay. And the fun part about this is we kind of abuse AI in a sense that when we're developing in that manner, if it gets something wrong, that means the documentation is wrong. So we go figure out what that is and correct it. And sometimes it's not as obvious as to what or how something's interpreted. So we take a working example of something built with SignalWire, and we feed it through AI, and we say, explain this in detail. If it gets any of those details wrong, then that tells me where the problem is in the documentation. And then again, we go fix it, August and Devin, and we just work together with AI to help us. And it really does accelerate us and help us get things done quicker. So we have a fully IT support agent. Let's go look at what this looks like. Let's hit this. Let's go in here and see what we got. Let's see here. IT support, open with, let's just open that in Cursor real quick. I'll make that font just a little smaller. Did a pretty good job there. We got to fix some docs because that's not correct, but it'll work. I did a bunch of, look at this. This is something else it does. It does, we have a pronunciation section that lets you determine how things are pronounced within your AI agent. So it filled in a lot of these things to ensure that it says them correctly. Let's see here. It built a native vector search using our onboard RAG stack that's in our SDK. It probably mocked a bunch of data to do that. It's giving some resolution times. Let's just see what we can do here. Let's go start this thing up. We got a bug. Okay, pip. Input function is also required. Yes, I did. It did this. Watch this. Just make it fix it. Watch it. It's going to say you're absolutely right. Always. If you don't have one, there's these "You're absolutely right" stickers out there, inspired by the Yes Man Claude. And there it goes. See, it's like, oh, sorry, my bad. Yes, I'm going to tell you right now, when the AI takes over, they're probably going to kill me first because I'm not nice to it. It's easier to be mean, really. So now, see, it's like, oh, I messed up. Let me fix that for you. But this is really like, I'll have 4 of these things open working on 4 different things at any given moment throughout the day. And it's just like, I just forget about it and then come back when I'm done doing other things. And it's pretty cool stuff. Let's go see where it gets the phone number to transfer to real quick. Transfer. Oh, it just made some numbers up. What should we point these to? Let's go ask. Let's see here. I don't want that. I want this. No. Tools, agent mode. Let's just harass some people. We'll let that go for a little bit. Let's go back over here. Now let's, oh, you don't need to test the agent, my guy. Okay, let's go back over here. Let's run it again. There we go. Now we got to go update our SignalWire dashboard. Can't use 3002, so let's fix that. Okay. There we go. We're going to do IT support. Let's go back over here to our SignalWire dashboard and input that. And that's deployed. So now, if it works. Let's try that again. I didn't have it on speakerphone.
Hello, this is Alex from IT support. How can I help you today? May I have your name and...
My name's Brian West, and I need help resetting my password.
Thank you, Brian from West. I can help you with that. First, I need to verify your identity. Could you please provide your employee ID and the last 4 digits of your phone number?
It's 12345 and 9378.
Thank you for that information. Brian, just to confirm, your employee ID is 12345 and the last 4 digits of your phone number are 9378. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Thank you for confirming. Brian, I will now send you a password reset link to your registered email address. Please hold on for a moment. Sending password reset link. You should receive the link shortly. If you don't see it in your inbox, please check your spam or junk folder. Is there anything else I can assist you with today?
What else can you help me with?
I can help you with a variety of IT issues, including password resets, software troubleshooting, VPN access, and general technology questions. If you're experiencing any other issues or have questions about IT policies and procedures, feel free to ask.
Thank you. That'll be all for now.
You're welcome, Brian. If you need any assistance in the future, don't hesitate to reach out. Have a great day. I'm ending the call now.
So we just kind of whipped that up out of thin air. If somebody wants a copy of that, there's all kinds of stubs in here for the things that it is capable of doing. So it's a good base. If somebody wants a copy of this, I'll put it up real quick. Does anybody have any questions about what we just did there? And that's untuned. I just took it as is. Now, if you want to take it and tune it, that is probably the most time you'll spend is tuning how you want it to behave in various scenarios. And that's the fun of it. With what we have here at SignalWire, you get to focus on what your agent does and not any of the orchestration. Everything comes along, function calling. We take care of the LLM, the ASR, the TTS. We have a variety of voices to choose from. We have Cartesia, which supports emotion. You can have it get mad, sad, happy. You can make it talk slower. You can make it talk faster, all just by asking it to say things like email addresses slower. Like if it gives you an email address, you could say, hey, can you give that to me a little slower? It'll speak slower. We have various TTS providers on board. We have Rhyme, Azure, 11 Labs. We have the Google. We have all the new Amazon voices. The neural voices are on board as of last week. If you have any questions about any of that, you can go to developer.signalwire.com. And that information is all available. Just look for TTS providers, and there's how-tos for all of them. If you have any special requests or you see something that maybe our AI agent can't do, ask, because that's how we get the best ideas, is interaction with our users and our community. Additionally, every Friday from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Central, we do what's called a SignalWire Hangout, where anybody can come in there. It's an open forum. Me, DevX, Lynn, and Shane usually camp in there during that time while we work everything else we do on Fridays. And we're there to answer questions, give guidance, and show you how to build things with products and services at SignalWire. You could even just come in and ask how the weather is. It doesn't have to be about SignalWire. Just come interact and be part of the community. We're looking at possibly doing another one earlier in the week, later in the day, so we can include more people from the other side of the planet, so they can get involved and not have to get up so early or so late to visit us. Any questions? Anything? Yes. We need a microphone over here. Somebody run a mic? He's on his way.
Thank you very much. Hi, good morning. Thanks for the demo. What repository did you start with?
I started with a SignalWire Agents repository. It is on...
Well, that's the same one from the Quick Start?
Yes, it's the same one from the Quick Start.
Same one from the Quick Start?
Basically, what I did is I check it out in my current working directory, and then I do a Claude init, and then it understands everything, and then you can ask it to do the thing. Like I just asked it to do this.
Okay, so Claude init, just do a clone of your Quick Start, do a Claude init inside that, and that's how you did that. Okay, next question. You mentioned something with a LLM.text.
Yes.
What was that URL again?
It's the developer.signalwire.com/LLMS.txt. LLMS.txt.
Thank you.
Additionally, if anybody here uses Docusaurus for any documentation in your organization, Devin wrote the plugin we use for our LLMs.txt. It's kind of like robots.txt, but for AI to consume our documentation. So it allows you to just feed that to your IDE, your Claude Code, your Gemini, whatever you're using. It will assimilate everything, and it will help you get to where you need to be with SignalWire much faster. We're talking hours instead of days. For example, with our AI Agent SDK, you can go from 0 to a product in a week if you wanted to do that. We have people trying this right now. Like I say, the biggest thing is the tuning. We have things like function fillers. You want it to do certain things. You can do per function fillers. So let's say you have a function that takes a long time to do something. For example, there's an example that we have called Flows Flowers, where you can call it up and ask it for anything at all. You I want keyboard flowers, and it calls Dolly, which takes about 6 seconds to generate you a bouquet of keyboard flowers, which is a bunch of it's different every time. It's kind of comical. And then it takes that and sends it off on an MMS to whoever you want it to go to. The fun part about it is while it's generating that package, I use a function that has an option. It's called wait file. While it's taking that 10 seconds to generate this image, it's not silent. It sounds like somebody's wrestling a box trying to package something in the background while it's doing that. When it's done and it's all taped up, it's like your flowers have been sent. So we have all of those types of options. You can do it. The most annoying, I don't know if you get annoyed by it, but I do. When you call one of these automated things and you hear the fake keyboard typing, they're just using that to buy time because they're slow. I'm not sure if ours is slow enough for you to actually get any value out of doing something like that. Your mileage may vary depending on your API calls, kind of the overhead of that. We're at the mercy of that, so if it's fast, we're fast. But most interactions are hovering around that 500 millisecond turnaround time. And sometimes that is too fast. So you may have to, in your use case, look at what happens. Because at the end of our AI agent, we have something called a post prompt and a post prompt URL. And that's documented on developer.signalwire.com. It's in our SDK as well. At the end of the call, you get this big blob of JSON that contains every interaction that the AI had, what it responded with. Additionally, you get what's called a raw log and a log, because we have this feature called transparent barge. And I don't know if you've seen this, like when you interrupt the AI over and over and over again, now you have a polluted context because it was about to speak, but you said something else to add to the previous thing you just said. So what we do is we just drop that out, combine the two things, send it back through the LLM, and get a better context for what the customer was really saying. Because humans don't speak like the binars on Star Trek. They meander, they and ah and pause to answer questions. So you have to think about that. And the obsession that I've seen in this market is it has to be fast, it has to be instant. And in reality, that's rude in some cases, because you're cutting the end user off before they have a chance to really, like if you're asking for phone numbers or information, they may have to think for a second to give you the complete what you're asking for. So those are all things that we talk about in our developer documentation. We have a best practice guide for prompting that gives you some ideas of how to properly prompt. It's not the end all be all. If you really want to see how to prompt in a good manner, we have something called the prompt object model. It is also documented on our developer website. It is a structured form of prompting. And it's very interesting because it works so well. It's very close to Risen, and it does objective prompting really well. And again, that's documented. We also have a Python module called SignalWire POM that helps you build those programmatically, which if you have time, you can also go to this repo. It's called SignalWire Agents UI. This is an actual complete UI for building SignalWire agents in your browser. It has the Docker container, so you download it, clone it, set up your details, run it, go to the website, which will be on localhost, and boom, it'll let you build with point and click the same thing I just built with the Agent SDK in Claude. And that is available open source today. So you can clone that and run that locally as well. So if you want to do those types of things, that's good as well. Any questions so far? Yes, over here.
So what is the maximum context size that you have?
Okay, so by default, we use 4.0 mini. You can choose between 4.1 nano and 4.1 mini. We also have thinking mode that allows you to take 2 turns with the LLM. So you can enable that, and you can also dictate, like for example, you could turn on thinking mode and give it 4.1 mini, and then use 4.1 nano for the response. So you could get a little bit, it basically formulates a plan to answer the question, so it's got more details and can get better. The context windows are default to those models on OpenAI.
Okay, and another question. I'm curious about how do you deploy? You mentioned deploying on the cloud or the SignalWire cloud. Mm-hmm. Is it possible to deploy in a local private network, local deployment?
Currently, no. It is in our global cloud, built into our telecom stack down on the hardware.
Okay.
So we wrote this down deep in the hardware. So it's the fastest it can be. It's not depending on any scripts or base 64 encoded audio. It is literally down on the hardware.
Okay. And what's the pricing?
The rack pricing out of the gate is 16 cents per minute for the AI agent. That includes your ASR, your TTS, and your LLM. There are some premium voices like 11 Labs and Cartesia that are an add-on.
Okay.
The Azure voices are really good, and they're inclusive, as are some of the Amazon voices and the Google voices. If you want your AI to sound like a robot, use the Google ones. But if the Azure voices are really good. Additionally, our AI agent uses Nova 3 from DeepGram, so it can listen to 10 languages and match the language on the fly.
Okay.
So you can do those things as well.
And do you record the history of the calls?
What was that?
Yeah, the history of the calls.
We can. That's why I was saying the post prompt is there. You can also record the call with audio.
Right. And is there any maximum number of calls that you keep, or is unlimited?
No, that's configurable. You
Okay.
configure that.
Okay. All right, thanks.
So by default, if you don't turn anything on, we don't store anything. And we give you the power to take that post-prompt data and store it where you see fit. So that in itself, the post-prompt data, and I can show you, it's a big blob of JSON, but it is a critical component for you to tune your agent, because you can go look at it and do a post-mortem. Why did this agent do this or say this or act this way? And sometimes that prompt, like how the customer says things, can give you an insight into something you may have missed in your prompt. And so you can use that to tune. For example, we have had an AI agent answering the phone at SignalWire. Her name is Sia Chapman. She answers the phone, she collects the data when a customer has a problem, and she opens the ticket in Zoho Desk. So she takes that, the transcript and all the details, puts it in a ticket. Somebody in support will work that ticket and resolve whatever their issue was a lot quicker. Now, there is a human behavior that it's hard to get past, and that's stubbornness. It's quite comical. There are days where you'll have the same person call 10 times in a row and not answer the questions. And we can't help them when they don't do that. Yes?
And so how do you test these agents? Like you deploy them, let's say, and how do you make sure that, when you release new versions of the agents, that they keep, the whole thing working as it used to?
There's a couple of ways to do this, and there's a gentleman going to be talking about that this week here at ClueCon. And if he could show you how he does his, but you use AI to test it. You have one call and have an objective to do certain things, and some of those objectives are try to jailbreak the AI, which, by the way, I would love anybody in here this week to do their best to jailbreak our AI agent and get it off task. I would love to see it.
You probably already answered this, or maybe can't give me a definitive answer, but how many human languages would it recognize? Is that dependent on your back-end providers?
Yeah, that is dependent on the back-end providers. Now, the text stuff that we have coming is pretty much any language OpenAI uses. We have an AI support agent that's going online after ClueCon. His name is Ethan West. I created him about 2 years ago as a joke, and it's kind of evolved into this thing, and we had people within SignalWire itself that didn't realize he wasn't real. He has his own Slack account, his own email, his own LinkedIn profile, and he posts there sometimes. So
that's amazing for a 2-year-old.
Yes, it is. But I faked it. He's 22 now.
Wow. Okay, thanks.
Yes.
For the 16 cents a minute, what's the billing increment? Because when I played with it last year, the biggest barrier to entry was that depending on how long they went for, every single time they spoke, and it looks very cheap, but then all of a sudden you start using it back and forth. Every phone call, maybe under a minute, was ended up costing me like $1, $2. I don't know what I was doing, but the increments really ended up taking me for a ride.
One of the things you probably were using is an 11 Labs voice. Those are rather expensive. It's 16 cents a minute, billed in 60-second increments.
So it's 60-second increments, regardless of how the conversation goes, without 11 Labs.
Correct. If you use an Azure voice, some of the Amazon voices, the Google voices, those are included in that. But some of those other voices, like Cartesia and 11 Labs, are just more expensive. The neural voices from Amazon sound amazing, but they are more expensive as well.
And their increments are also?
Those are by character. So those are billed by what it says.
So play with it and see how big the bill gets.
Yeah, here's the fun part. You don't have to stand up anything. All the infrastructure is taken care of. So the barrier of entry is almost nothing if you look at it from that vantage point.
I'll give it another try.
Okay. Let us know if you hit anything. I'm glad to take your feedback.
Okay, going in a slightly different direction, where are you now with emotional analysis? Are you able to detect when people get angry or when they're happy with the response they're getting?
Well, how about I just save that for the dangerous demo?
Good answer.
Any other questions? He's got a question over here.
Are you open on the backside for other TTSs, like if you host your own for OpenAPI or OpenAI?
We actually have OpenAI on board already.
Oh, I meant if you're compatible on the API structure.
We are plumbed for pretty much any ASR, TTS, and LLM. There's one caveat that we have that's a requirement for LLMs, and that's multiple system prompts. And right now, OpenAI is the only one that has that capability. Now, we are discussing ways of getting that capability, either faking it or figuring out a method to do that with, say, Anthropic or any of the other providers that are out there. It's one of the main driving things. Like, I really want to see somebody jailbreak our AI agent this week. I want to see it. My favorite thing to do when I'm talking to LLMs is to ask it to write me a poem about sheep. If it will do that, then your LLM in your prompt are too loose. But we do some work to ensure that your agent stays on task. So, yes. Any other questions? Over here.
Yeah. You talked about prompt engineering, right? Have you tried prompt for a prompt? Like, you have to build an AI agent, you give a list of things that it has to do, but for that, have you asked another agent, like, can you write me a prompt for this?
Absolutely. I use OpenAI to help me draft prompts, and I recommend everybody else do this. I'll start a chat session, I'll attach the prompt, and I'll describe behaviors and the model I'm using, and then get pointers of how to avoid and or correct behaviors based on that. And it's very odd. Sometimes the things it recommends are a lot of things I would have never thought of. Yeah. So you kind of have to use the tool to help you build the tool.
Yes. Okay. Thanks, Brian.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Any other questions? So who's going to get started on their AI agent? Awesome, awesome, awesome. I'm here to help anybody get started. Questions, comments, get stuck on anything. But start with cloning the repo, get you an environment set up, use Gemini or Claude or one of these other ones. You will have an agent within 20 minutes and spend probably 4 hours tuning it, which is fun, changing voices, doing all kinds of things like that. So let's get started on something, okay? If you want the IT one I did, if you can come up here, I'll email it to you. And I'll just come see you when I get down off of here. All right, guys. I'm going to step off here. If you have any other questions, I'm going to be roaming about. We're going to have August, Lynn, and Shane all around helping various aspects of different challenges going on. So if y'all guys have questions, come see me. I'm going to be on that table right over here where Danny has stolen my seat. Yes, yes.
How do I run the, for example, I'm running the AI agent on DigitalOcean, so how do I connect to it?
Okay, well, I'll show you that real quick. I think that was probably, let's try that. So what you will do is go into your SignalWire dashboard. You'll create a new resource called a script. You'll do a SWML script. And then you'll say external URL, and you'll put the URL to your agent here, which generates the SWML. So when we receive a phone call, this is something that's very important. I want everybody to pay attention to this. When you map it like this, you have the opportunity to do something awesome. You can dynamically answer this with whatever based on caller information. But we post to you all that data. You feed me back a SWML document that brings the AI up. And then that's it. That's all you have to do. Once it's running, The only interaction your AI agent will have is the SignalWire AI gateway functions you give it. Additionally, the SDK has an MCP gateway, so you can take an MCP tool and expose it automatically to your AI agent on SignalWire, and they'll show up as tools. So that's another thing you can do. But you map it here with the URL. And I'll show you the one I did here, just so you can see one that's done. This is the SignalWire knowledge one I did. And if you see right here, I've got my username, password, IT support. And then you come over here. You get your call logs. You see everything it did. Additionally, this is callable. You can call this from our Call Fabric SDK, which is something I'm going to demonstrate during just demos with something James asked about. So we're going to have some fun with that.
I have a quick question.
Yes.
What about doing external webhook calls from the SignalWire to get things like GPON status, if a caller is connected, that kind of thing, and then have the agent report back, hey, your fiber link's up, your fiber link's down, that kind of stuff?
Good question. Watch this. You go over here. It is called the SignalWire AI Gateway, or SWAG. It follows the OpenAI tool spec almost perfectly. I think it's actually aligned with it exactly now. But you can create swag functions, and each of those has a webhook. Let me find it. Functions, webhook. So, for example, in here is one of us doing a post of get weather. So we would post to your SignalWire AI Gateway server or webhook this blob of data. And you notice we say function get weather. We say arguments parsed, city, state, Tulsa, Oklahoma. You get all of this to your function, and then you come down here and see what you respond with. So down here is the response. Your response from your function is the response key. This is exactly going to be fed as is into the LLM to inform it how to answer the user's question. So if you want to have a function that calls to get your GPON status, you hit it, return it, you're able to give that status. We also have an example of this in our digital employees repo of an internet support. If it may be on my GitHub, I don't think I've put that one in, but there's methods of using, we have a functionality called metadata, where you can segregate data away from the LLM. And Lynn and Shane are going to be doing some demos of this today as well for payment collection. So you can do things like payment collection, and the AI has no clue it's happening. So it allows you, if you look here, we're setting some metadata after the function call, the temperature information. So say maybe another function is called, that function can get access to the metadata. So you can do things like you authenticate the customer. You set their customer record and all their details as metadata. So another function doesn't have to hit the database again to look the customer up because you already have it. And the AI doesn't have that record, but every function call from our platform to your webhooks would have those things. So you can peek and poke things into the metadata. We have something also called global data, because you can scope your functions down to only include, like we have something called a metadata token. It's another step of segregation, so you can limit what data is shared with what functions based on that token. So you could have a subset of functions that get the customer record and some that don't. Global data is given to all functions always, so you can pick and choose how you want to segregate your data. But all of this is documented. There are examples of this, and I can, if you want to come and talk to me, or I'll come over and talk to you, definitely I can show you how to do exactly that, because it's really good at that. Any more questions? Well, awesome, awesome, awesome. I'll be around. If you have questions, you can come up and talk to August and I. We'll kind of roam about a little bit as well. If anybody needs any help getting started, I'm going to come by and email him a copy of the thing I did, and we'll go from there. All right, thank you guys.
Thank you.